Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to InfernoKun here with a video about The Walking Dead Season 3. It's been a little bit because I've been, in college, or at least, getting used to it and moved in. But now everything's all situated and I can go ahead and at least attempt to make videos depending on how my work goes. So anyways, we have a bit more information about The Walking Dead Season 3 from Gamescon this year that Joe J. Stauffer was at over in, I believe, Germany. So he had an interview with, I forgot who with. He had an interview with the International Business Times. That's kind of weird, but anyways, there was an interview. He gave out some small details about the comic characters and maybe even the location that we're going to be at, and of course, the choices that could actually make, a difference in, like, from Season 1 and Season 2. So a little bit of that, but for the most part, we're going to go into the first thing he said, which was there will be some very well-known characters from the comics appearing in The Walking Dead Season 3. So by well known, what comes to mind is people like, Negan, for example, and maybe even Rick or Michonne, or all kind of people who are, very well known. So that's what I'm thinking of in terms of very well known, like Rick or Negan, because Negan's kind of an enemy. I mean, definitely an enemy. And of course, Rick, he's of course the good guy here, I guess. And that's what I think of when it comes to very well known. But he said also that geographically, we're very much closer to Virginia, and that does open the door. We will be seeing some characters from the comics more highly integrated with this third season. So, closer to Virginia. I feel like I heard that before, like earlier, but here we have it, closer to Virginia. Now, of course, Virginia is a pretty pivotal place because of one reason, and why it's tied to the comics actually, is because of the Alexandria safe zone is located in Virginia, which is a pretty big, place in the comics because it is actually, run by Rick Grimes, of course, and everybody else who inhabits that place, Michonne, Glenn, Maggie, and everyone else in Rick's group. So that's pretty big because of, we're close to Virginia, which means that the Alexandria safe zone is going to be very, very close, or at least, somewhat close, or at least in some kind of walking, or at least, I don't know what part in Virginia they're going to be at, but of course, that's very, very close to, where the safe zone is. So are we actually going to run into, like, Rick himself, or maybe even Michonne? But definitely I do want to see Glenn, because, obviously, we actually saw him in Season 1, Episode 1, and it'd be cool to see him again as Clementine, because, of course, you met him as Lee, but to meet him as Clementine will be actually really cool, unless it's going above issue 100, then we can kind of scratch that out of the, off the list. But yeah, this very well-known characters is actually pretty interesting. I wonder who it's going to be. They gave no information on who it actually is, so it's pretty much a surprise for us to see in-game. But I'm looking forward to seeing who it actually is, and if it will be a pretty pleasant surprise, because they did mention that The Walking Dead Michonne was a test to see if they could do it. People like Pete and, of course, Sadiq in The Walking Dead Michonne, you can talk to them, and that's kind of like what they're talking about, is interacting with comic characters through your characters. So, yeah, I wonder who Clem or Javier is going to interact with, and, what's going to happen there. But also, Joe did reiterate on the choices of Season 1 and Season 2 by saying if you played the first two, your story will be completely tailored to you based on the decisions you made in Seasons 1 and 2. So here we are, choices will matter once again for the most part. I mean, I'm looking forward to see what they do with this, because they can do a bunch of stuff with the choices that we have. So I love having the fine details of choices actually change and stuff like that. So I'd love to see what they do with that. Have dialogue actually change, like, oh, this person, or Clem brings up, what happened to Lee again, or what happened to, Kenny or Jane, or what happened, based on events that happened in Season 2, which isn't really much, but of course in Season 1 as well. That could actually make some pretty good tailoring, so would love to see them use the choices from Season 1 and 2 as much as they can, because they haven't really done that in Season 2 too much. So hopefully by saying, choices will matter, choices will actually matter this time around. I would definitely love to see, different things happen based on the choices. I mean, from other seasons, that is, choices happening in the episodes in Season 3 definitely will change, but choices that happened in Season 1 and 2, I mean, I played them. I played Season 1 and 2, you played Season 1 and 2, so you probably love to see choices that you made actually come back at you or at least like be mentioned of what you did, to actually add another layer of, I guess, immersion into the story based on what you did in season 1 and 2. That'd be pretty cool in my opinion. So looking forward to that. And also the last thing they said was pretty much, Javier, a Cuban American who is dealing with a lot of loss and a lot of issues with his own family and trying to find them. And he meets a young teenager named Clementine. So that's how he finds Clementine, I guess. He's looking for his family, and he finds Clementine. Now, one thing about this article is that Javier is brought up quite a lot, or at least, brought up as if he is the, main, most important playable character. And it isn't a bad thing. I mean, it isn't at all. But the way they word this kind of stuff is that, he's like the main dude. Clementine's here too, don't worry. But we have, they're putting so much focus on Javier here. And that's pretty, weird, or at least, I'm kind of worried about that. But anyways, I mean, yeah, Javier is pretty new. From what we see here, he's actually, looking for his family. So in the first teaser we had, that could be saying, or whenever he said, hold on, or just hold on, that could be, him looking for his family. So this sounds very familiar, because in season 1, Clem was looking for her family as well. So yeah, Will Javier actually find his family alive and well, or will they actually be walkers too? So we'll see what happens there. But that's pretty much it for the interview here. There wasn't really too much other than that. They mentioned the comic characters, the location, choices actually mattering, and of course a little bit about Javier, some more. And that is pretty much all we have right now. So what do you guys think about the information about the, Virginia setting close to the Alexandria safe zone in the comics? Very well-known characters coming up in season 3 as well. People like, I guess, Rick or Michonne, maybe even Negan, the Saviors, or even, we have no idea who. But what do you guys think about characters actually coming up in the comics that are very well-known and interacting with Clementine and Javier? My one thing about that is that I hate when they actually introduce villains that can't be killed, or at least, for example, Game of Thrones, they introduced Ramsay, and you can't kill him. You can't kill him, though he has plot armor, so I hated that. I mean, I like seeing him and all, but I just hated that I couldn't kill him and that he had plot armor. So plot armor should definitely, I don't like it, because, adding canon characters to your game could actually be, kind of weird and immersion breaking, at least, So I hope they actually go ahead and make it a very, at least a cameo, or at least a very, well introduced, appearance or something like that. So if you guys did enjoy my coverage of this news, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up, because here's a secret that helps out quite a lot if you guys did not know. And go ahead and subscribe if you guys have not already. I'm InfernoKun, and I'll catch you guys next time on The Walking Dead.